Good evening. Welcome back to Me Being Cheap. In one of my previous videos, I talked about making mama cloth or reusable menstrual products. So a reusable menstrual product is called a RUMP for short, R-U-M-P. And I decided to make some of my own without purchasing them so I could test it out to see if that was something I wanted to use or wanted to do. So first of all, let me talk to you about the money that could potentially be saved if I decide to use these. And then I'll give you a brief tutorial about how I made my own. There are many different patterns and tutorials out there on YouTube, so you know, to each his own. So let me grab my whiteboard. Hopefully you could see this, kind of a glare. Okay, so for the RUMP, that's a reusable menstrual product. You will see that the first part of the equation is 10 years. So I did a little bit of research. The average age of menopause in the United States for a white woman is about 51. I am 41, so if we are going on statistics alone, I've got 10 more years that I would have to be buying pads and tampons. And so we're going to multiply that by month because that's a monthly expenditure. And then according to Google research, the average price spent on pads and tampons is about $10 a month. So altogether, if I use these for the next 10 years, then I will have saved $1,200. Now, that is just for the menstrual cycle. Now, I have not done the research on this yet, but I know quite a few women experience incontinence of urine, and they use pads for that too, and that's a daily thing. Now, that hasn't happened to me yet, so I don't know if that's something that happens when you get older, or I'm just one of the lucky ones that hasn't happened to. So, figuring that in as potential savings as well, if that becomes an issue in the future. So, we're looking at a savings of $10 a month over the next 10 years, a total of $1,200. Now, I'd like to talk to you about how I made my own. First of all, they have patterns for sale, and they also have patterns that you can get a free PDF. I just made my own. So basically what I did is I just took a disposable pad, and I cut the wings off, and so I used the actual pad portion as the template. And I made a cardboard cutout. And then for the other portion, I put the cardboard cutout this way, and then I turned and went this way with it, and then I joined the edges. So I have a nice little diamond shape with rounded edges. Many of those patterns that you see have very distinct wings, and I figured that would be too hard to sew. I figured this nice rounded diamond would be an easier shape. So that's what I did with mine. And so I'll tell you about the materials I used. First of all, for the backing, I used an old baby blanket that is fleece because they say that the fleece helps grip the underwear, help it stay in place. So this is an old baby blanket. And then for the absorbent padding material, I used an old bed pad, also left over from when the kids were little. This is one of these pads, you may have seen them in the hospital. Waterproof on the back, absorbent on the front. They use them in the hospital as turn sheets, but also to protect the bedding. You can also buy these at Walmart to use for home use. So use this for the absorbent backing. And just if you're curious, I can tell you, using this, you can get 27 pads out of one of these incontinence pads. Okay, and then for the material on top, I just used scraps of fabric that I was saving to make a quilt. So, a little bit of how I put it together. So, I have one piece that's cut out of the fleece, one piece that's cut out of the quilt material, and basically what you're going to do is sew these together, sew around the edges all the way around. You're going to leave a gap in because you're going to turn it inside out. So it's important that you sew this together with the wrong side of the fabric facing out because you're going to turn it inside out. Okay, and so after you get that done, this is what the pad looks like that's made out of the absorbent incontinence pad. And just to hold it together, I found it easy to sew across it, just to keep it together. All right, so then after you turn it right side out, you have a little pouch. It's flannel on one side, material on the other, and in the inside, see if you can see this, you have the pad. Move this a little closer. Okay, so the next thing you have to do is to close this up, and you're just going to fold the flannel in, excuse me, the fleece along with the material, and then you stitch around it. You stitch it shut, and then you end up with something that looks like this. Okay, this is sewed, and this is sewed, and then, I don't know if you can see this or not, let me move it a little closer. I sewed down the edge here, and that's to catch the side of that pad in the inside so it doesn't slip around. All right, and then the next thing you do after that, you're going to sew a button on one of the wings and a buttonhole on the opposite one. So then you end up with something that looks like this. Let's undo the button. So here you have the pad side, here you have the fleece side, and then it just buttons like this. And that's it. So we'll have to give these a test when that time arises. But I have been making some of these in the evening. Really doesn't take very long. I have a stack. I just dropped some of them. I have a stack here. All different colors. We got green and some sort of half paisley, half plaid. Got another funky type of print. Another one. We've got purses. We've got something that looks like a couch. So anyhow, I figure if these don't work out very good, they kind of look like hot mitts. Let me unfold this, unbutton it. See, kind of looks like a hot mitt. So I guess if these don't work, I'm going to have 27 extra hot mitts. All right, thanks for watching. Have a great evening.